Grand Rising, peace and power, everyone. We are back. We are on chapter 10 today. I want to go ahead and bring up Brother Jamal Butts. Grand Rising.
Top of the morning, Miss Pitts. How are you today, ma'am?
I'm well, thank you. And how
All
about yourself?
right. All right. We got chapter 10, the pain body.
How are you today?
I'm sorry. I am doing well. Thank you so very much.
That's good.
Yep. Yep.
So I take it you want to hop on in there? Go ahead.
Well, we can't. Definition, pain body. The pain body is a secondary persona or self that acts as a filter of daily experience. This ego surrogate displaces the real persona after this person accepts so many layers of false beliefs and abnormal development. The original natal template is thus forgotten, submerged, hidden, buried so deep that the person loses access to it. The pain body is not a structural body like the energy body or light body. It is a blockage, a distortion, a misalignment, an inversion, in fact, an inversion. In fact, it is a series of layers of those things that infect and pollute the three lower bodies. However, taken all together, it almost constitutes a fifth body. In the mild version of the pain body, the interference to life operations is slight. In the deepest and most severe manifestations, it will cause the human to die. It is half the cause of aging. It is the root endemic cause of what humans define as illness. Basically, it is what is wrong with you. It defines how you are not like God. There is an authentic you, whereas the pain body is an artificial mutation of you. The pain body is not bad. The pain body is not bad because it is different. It is bad because it is not God. It is bad because it is not authentic. It does not follow the blueprint. Nature will not allow anything to remain still, so you must change. When you evolve according to the natal blueprint, that is a positive shift and you get certain benefits. When you are stagnant, that is a negative state. When your development is contrary to the natural blueprint, that is very bad, and the result is pain. When the pain body reaches the chronic stage, you are non-operational. At this point, you cannot achieve high-level orgasm. Indeed, at the chronic level, your relationship life and sexual life will be perversely painful. The intent of this chapter is to assist you in measuring your pain body and determining its status. Indigenous society has an entire language to describe the pain body. In technical cultures, there are no words or concepts to do this. Most people are not aware that the pain body exists or the extent to which it impedes their life. Therefore, in this chapter, we will spend time discussing what the pain body is, the terms we use to discuss it, and why it directly impacts our sexual life. The crisis that all humans are born into is that the current society is generally ignorant of the full scope of the world. We are not aware that entire segments of the world exist. The records are absent from large blocks of history. The wars and greeds of the past have displaced so much of the wisdom the human race has gained over the centuries at a staggering price. The worldview held by the masses is filled with detrimental false beliefs and fueled by petty cultural limitations. As a result, humans are infinitely divided into small population groups based on religion, nations, racial identity, economic class, and territory. This division and the restricted worldview it encourages generates huge power for the elite groups who own or manage these religions, nations, militaries, etc. Thus, an elite economic class is constantly being created. The elite must then constantly defend the religions and beliefs and social conditionings that gave them the power in the first place. This dynamic is war, incursion, taxes, tyrants, and technology. It gives rise to a never-ending cycle of mass pain for the common man. The macrocosmic and systemic pain then gives the majority of humans on the planet a lifestyle in which people experience life through the filter of a pain body. We have 4 bodies. The pain body manifests slightly differently in each of these bodies. The quantum field body is the template body, but when certain events, traumas, actions, or shifts occur, we can say that the relationship connecting the quantum field body with the 3 bodies below, it becomes disturbed. When certain events, traumas, actions, or shifts occur, a misalignment occurs. This misalignment defines what humans experience as pain. The light body is wounded by false beliefs. Secondly, the light body is made ill by the attachment of parasitic entities. These are energy parasite entities with negative intent. Species and different versions include demons, dark deceased dead humans, negative elementals, spiritual entities, and elemental entities that are non-sentient from war, poverty, drought, natural disaster, genocide, and slavery, etc. Also, the light body suffers from abnormal conditions in its light organs, mainly the light body heart. These 3 are the main aspects of the pain body here. Injury at the energy body level falls mainly into 3 categories, although there are some exceptions. Now we must make broad generalizations as the reality here is complex in the extreme. Sexual issues and sexual dysfunction, persona issues and counterfeit persona, negative juju, epigenics, curses, subliminal elements, etc. The energy body is the prime sexual body. The light body and the cell body certainly have sexual attributes, but the seat of the sexual being is in the energy body. Also, the persona is associated with the energy body. The persona is not so much a brain or mind element, but rather an energy thing, a sexual thing, an emotional thing. Emotions and psychology are not made of mental components. They are made from emotional and sexual material. This is a common misconception of modern scholars. It occurs when one lacks the worldview of 4 bodies. The takeaway here is that the energy body is the central focus of our discussion. In other words, what the pain body looks like at the energy level, this is called the counterfeit persona, the term used to describe the pain body or on the energy body level. This is the part of the pain body that is directly responsible for the difficulty in relationships and sexuality. In the physical body, the major aspect of the pain body is a lack of transmission. The messengers from the energy body are not getting through. Thus, the glands, hormones, vitamins, and enzymes cannot do their job. Each cell is bonded to a tiny sparkler of energy in the auric field. The auric sparkler generates and governs the EMF fields that make the cell run. When a large section of cell loses touch with the corresponding sparklers in the auric field, a condition known as cancer develops. However, in between the full-blown displacement and the normal connection are a host of in-between conditions we know as illness or disease. There are also normal physical parasites, worms, and microscopic parasites, which partly define the pain body in the physical realm. In review, the pain body is bad and tends to block happy relationships. The portion of the pain body we need to pay the greatest attention to is the part that deals with the energy body, and we can be more specific. There is a particular aspect of the pain body that is causing most of the ruckus. These attributes are responsible for misalignment, which is mainly the result of false belief systems. As the reader will recall, it was stated that the triangle of orgasm has 3 points: tantra, the level of masculine and feminine energy, and the alignment of the 4 bodies. To say this in simpler language, we use a car metaphor. The car equals orgasm. The capacity, you have actual components and biological mechanisms required to move the car or orgasm forward, such as pistons, transmission, and wheels. This is Tantra. The fuel, you can store more energy to power your car or orgasm. Your energy is highly refined, in other words, it can be converted rapidly to keep the cycle going. This is the real masculine or feminine energy. The network. The signal or intelligence can travel over an intact network to execute high level orgasm operations. There are no breaks from one body to the next body. The links or bridges connecting the bodies are aligned. This is the alignment of bodies. Therefore, in our discussion of the pain body and counterfeit persona, CP, we focus on the alignment issue. We are not as concerned with the fuel issue or the capacity issue. We desire to know why the pain body is interfering with our orgasm network. What is blocking the signals? Why has access to the information banks been shut down? And of course, how do we fix it? The foundation of the pain body consists of false belief systems. The pain body is created from false belief systems. The cure or remedy for the pain body begins with addressing these systems or beliefs. Living through the filter of the pain body has become normal for a significant percentage of the population. Views and expectations are distorted. Our appetites are distorted, and thus the network is distorted. How did the human race get so messed up? Well, most of this distortion is the result of externally implanted beliefs. Society is pressing our buttons all the time through something called subconscious conditioning. It is very popular today. The next secret premise is thus presented. In general, the common masses believe that they are making decisions, determining policy, and forming beliefs based on their own mind. They think the process is all internally driven. The truth is that with most people, it is their pain body that makes decisions, shapes policy, and approves beliefs. As long
Hold
as
on. We're not going to just skirt past that. He said, what now? The truth is what?
okay, the truth is that with most people, it is their pain body that makes decisions, shapes policy, and approves disbeliefs. Shoot.
And approves belief. So we just going to pass the collection plate. Y'all just go ahead and, that was a whole word right there. Early. This is so true. This is so true. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Was that it? Just want to pass the collection plate?
Yes, I yield.
Okay. As long as your pain body is running your life, it will be difficult to reach your desired outcomes. It is kind of like a magic trip. Give people opinions and beliefs, make them think they came up with them. This dark psychology, this science of social manipulation via embedded programs is very old. We know the Chinese perfected the science of dark psychology in ancient times because they wrote about it. Many others probably practiced it too, but did not leave records. Most often, it was used in conjunction with military rule. You want to avoid sending in soldiers every time you wish to correct behavior, so you torture a few people in public to get the message across. Do what we want or suffer. The practice became more subtle and institutionalized with the rise of major religions, perhaps none more so than the Catholic Church. From the period of 1100 AD to 1700 AD, the church seemed obsessed with the programming and control of the masses without armies. They pushed dark psychology to its limits, not only in Europe, but in all their future colonies. This set the stage for the general spread of dark psychology over the entire globe. While tyrants like Hitler and Stalin are infamous for this practice, they were not alone. Their deeds were widely reported, but every modern nation has employed this practice in some form and continues to do so. Hopefully, if any person or note were to point this out, he or she immediately becomes a conspiracy nut, right? It is not a coincidence that the USA has been putting fluoride into municipal water for mind control ever since they discovered that Hitler was using it. Fluoride has never been an agent for good dental health. In fact, fluoride promotes tooth loss. The studies done back then were faked by the government. No such institutions existed before the study because they were created for this purpose. Any engineer working in aluminum, steel, or oil refining will tell you that fluoride is one of the most toxic substances in industry. The deep state has gradually taken over the entire news media sector for the same reason. They are attempting to do this with the internet. Through this, though their success in that effort is doubtful. From the time you watched your first cartoon as a child, the pain body programs are being downloaded into your consciousness. School is not a vehicle for education or to equip the student to succeed in life. It is 12 years of training in the acceptance of social programming. It is to stop critical and creative thought. Doubt is not. Dark psychology has become the standard. People employ it because others did before them. They don't really even know what the purpose is anymore. People are given an internal mechanism to enable outside mind control. It is not 100%, and its ability is limited. People can and do resist, but elite external forces are influencing the behavior and beliefs of the masses far more than the common man thinks. The magic trick is that people don't even believe they are being influenced. The next section is titled False Belief Systems. Each individual must abandon their false beliefs. Without the false belief systems, the pain body cannot exist. Remove the false beliefs, and gradually the pain body breaks down and decreases. There are many false belief systems plaguing society. Here, I only name 3, which to me represent the beliefs that are most popular and yield the most pain. False beliefs create negative streams of consciousness. In other words, the intelligence operating the body and the brain is polluted. It stops being one pure system of intelligence flowing from one octave realm body down to the next octave realm or body. Instead, the consciousness of foreign entities, parasite entities, and external subconscious programs corrupt the stream. The network is down. Call the IT department.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Here,
pick up here.
go ahead.
You were finna say something?
No, ma'am. I was continuing reading.
Okay. Scarcity versus abundance. Do you hear that feedback?
I don't.
Okay. Scarcity versus abundance. Nature operates on a model of abundance, and humans are designed to operate in an environment of abundance, yet society operates on a model of scarcity. Our economy is scarcity based, as that is the definition of supply and demand. Our relationships are scarcity based. Our day to day outlook is typically scarcity based, and the net result is pain. God is external. God is not external. And yet, all major religions are based on this doctrine. Pass that collection plate. Brother Jamal, Brother Butts, go ahead and pass that around again. God
Okay.
is internal. If common humans do not manifest God in their personal life, he or she does not manifest. Humans must evolve constantly in order to become more and more like God in quality. Until they become more like God in quality, they will not act more like God in behavior. Relationships are personal. Relationships are meant to be tribal. Humans are a tribal species. In the last 500 years, the model of relationship has moved from, hold on, oh, it's a bug. Hold on. What in the
Okay.
world? Hold on. from? This is the second one. Okay. Um, if common humans, we're gonna start this over. Relationships are meant to be tribal. Humans are tribal species. In the last 500 years, the model of relationship has moved from a tribal community based model to a personal model based on the individual. It is an I thing versus a we thing. These three major false belief systems carry a lot with them: our culture, our community, the laws that states create, and the model of civilization we are all use. And the model of civilization we use are all based on these and other false beliefs. I estimate that 70% to 90% of the alignment issues of the pain body can be traced back to these three false belief systems. The impact of the pain body on sex is regressive, and the pain body in turn generates dissonance in the relationships between men and women. The counterfeit persona. The CP exists in the energy body. The difference between the personality and traits you have developed through experience and the character and attributes you were born with is defined as your counterfeit persona. And we'll say it again. The counterfeit persona exists in the energy body. The difference between the personality and traits you have developed through experience and the character and attributes you were born with is defined as your counterfeit persona. It is a coping mechanism. The layers of the CP form with each negative or positive experience that displaces you from your authentic natal template. The experience of pain or the witnessing of the pain of others is the catalyst for each layer. While there are 5 types of CP, all of them are essentially a mask. This mask hides the perceived weakness or inferior nature from the outside world, but it also blinds the person from overcoming the causes of their weakness and thus prevents them from claiming the full extent of their true power. The location of the counterfeit persona is the energy body, and the main action of the counterfeit persona takes place via the energy body. The CP is a thing. Sex involves the cell body, energy body, and light body, but the primary logos of the sexual self is the energy body, the spirit body. It is certainly possible to initiate sex and experience sex exclusively through the filter of the physical body. This is a juvenile level sex. This is juvenile level sex. In the immature human, that may be the extent of their capacity. However, the main arena of sex is the energy body, which is where the CP expresses its dysfunction. The creation of the CP begins at about age 2 and is firmly established by the age 18. The seed of this is rooted in genealogy going back 7 generations. The tendency is there. The tendency is there at birth. It takes shape as we observe the relationship of our parents. The foundation is our relationship with our father and mother. Our relationships with our peers in puberty cement the structure. The layers of the CP pain body are comprised of our coping mechanisms, emotional scars, badges, and lessons learned. It is the image that you come to believe is really you. There are 5 versions of counterfeit persona, and I'm going to screen share in this moment.
Okay.
Well, this is what are you eating? What are you eating?
Breakfast, breakfast.
Okay.
Mm-mm-mm.
Let me put this down, share the screen. There we go. So,
All right.
Can you see that?
I can. Oop,
Is it clear?
not as well now. A little bit more.
Bigger or smaller?
Bigger and then scroll down. Okay. So we start there and then scroll up.
Uh,
Mm, that's a good size.
how did I know you gonna say that? I can't see to. Okay, so I'm gonna take us off screen so they can see it.
Okay. Mm.
Now, is it clear?
Except for the bar on, close that bar on the left side.
Uh,
The bar on the left where you choose the pages because it's covering a portion of the page.
yeah. Let me see. I don't know why this keep pulling that up. Maybe it's here. Okay. No, the bar. Close it.
Right there.
Now it's full screen. You can see it.
It's a little too full.
I can't. Well, it doesn't need to be smaller.
Yeah, because it doesn't have the edges now.
What
Where
about
is
here?
that one down? That's perfect. That is perfect.
Boom.
Don't move. Don't move.
Okay.
Right there. Hold it. Keep going.
You out of control. Okay. So light
There,
body. Oh,
there are 5 versions of the counterfeit persona.
there are 5 versions of the counterfeit persona: schizoid, oral, psychopathic, masochistic, and anal. The schizoid counter persona, the pain body, the event causing misalignment, pain which has fragmented their persona. Masking behavior. They often criticize. They often criticize others to mask or distract. They will lie. Coping mechanism. Lives in an intellectual fantasy, afraid to face the causes of pain or acknowledge false beliefs. And then the general theme, not fully engaged in life or relationships. The persona is fragmented. One week, the schizoid seems fully engaged. The next week, they withdraw to a partial expression of life. The oral CP, the pain body. Event causing misalignment is the pain stemming from abandonment by parents. Masking behavior, they feel entitled to more based on past injury and low sense of worth. Entitlement. Coping mechanism. Lives in a constant state of consumption as a coping mechanism. Fear traits: fear of abandonment, fear of poverty, emotional starvation. General theme: 100% of what others have to give is never enough for them. The persona is enlarged to receive, but not to give. Selfishness. Can we pass that collection plate again? I am entitled to certain benefits from life, regardless of whether I make a contribution or not. When they perceive the mate will not gratify their wants and needs, regardless of how absurd, the oral persona interprets this as a sign that the mate intends to abandon them. The psychopathic CP, pain body or persona. Event causing misalignment. And let me scroll down on the screen. Okay. The event causing misalignment. Pain resulting from a lack of control in youth. Masking behavior seeks to diminish the standing of others as more grounds for their right to control them. Listen, all this sounds so familiar. Coping mechanism strives to control everyone and everything. Fear traits, fear of losing control, thus becoming inferior and subjugated. General theme, they insist on always being right, especially when they are obviously wrong. They insist on being in charge of the ship, even when their decisions cause it to sink. They are okay with that as long as they are still captain while it all sinks or while it sinks. I ain't sinking with nobody, okay? He or she believes that they must be in control in a relationship in order to receive the inherent benefits. They will manipulate events and people to their end. The masochistic CP pain body. Event causing pain from real event causing pain, alignment, misalignment, pain from real and perceived oppression, masking behavior, victim complex, passive aggressive, coping mechanism, lives in a constant rebellion to regain the dignity and self respect they never lost. Fear traits, fear of conforming, fear of conflict, concedes to power but denies their hate. General theme, in my revolt against their enemies, in abstinent rebellion against their friends. That's great. The masochistic person believes in a persecution complex. They are the victim, and the opposite sex in general is incapable of fair treatment. She believes that sexual submission is an acknowledgement by her of a male dominant role in society. He believes expression of his emotions and cooperation with any aspect of her agenda is to acknowledge her dominance and inferiority. It is a ghost rebellion. They are fighting back against a foe which no longer exists. Now I'm gonna pause right here. Bro Jamal, I muted you because you were eating, and so if you need to say something, you got to tell me. Unmute you. Let me unmute you. Okay, go ahead.
Oops, my bad.
It's cool.
I thought I was gonna get away with it because I was off screen.
I can't. Well, it's good for those that are into what do you call them? The people that like to hear you eat.
Oh, I don't.
It's a genre, but go ahead.
Hmm. Okay, so you say, I mean, we got a few more to go. Well,
Yeah,
a
I
few
was
more to
gonna
go, but
pause.
I was going to say this, and that is that you you mentioned that as you were reading some of the, it wasn't the masochistic CP. I think it might have been when you were going through the oral or the psychopathic CP that you said it sounded familiar.
Well, this
And
is my dating life.
I
It
know that
does.
you've studied, you've had some indoctrination and studied some other modalities and some other things. So for other people may be thinking it's familiar as well. If you have ever had any indoctrination with shadow work,
Mhm.
this is probably where some of these themes seem familiar, because it is he's describing what some people have been knowing as shadows in another way as it relates to his dissertation of how we need to get past some things relative to the pain body in our seeking of
Mhm.
the high level orgasm, the holy grail of orgasm, um, on purpose. And the he is Master Yao N. Morris, the author of the book that we're reading here during book clubs, The Holy Grail of Orgasm. And I'm done. I'm finished eating too.
Okay, so
Oops.
I cannot.
Oh,
So, for those of you that's just tuning in, I am Nina Pitts, and this is Mr. Jamal Butts, and we are hosting book club. Alchemical Changes is a book club I created so that we can start reading things together to heal the community. And so, this is the third book of Master Yao N. Morris's that we've read. And I'm going to start linking the playlist to the other two in the description so you all, don't feel left out. He talks on heavy in the first two books on a counterfeit persona. And so most people go through life just living life in the counterfeit version.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to heal that as well. But when you speak of shadows, in spirituality, your shadows protect you. And so even though and this is just from my studies, even though yes, we have to heal it, we have to learn that you cannot just get rid of your shadow.
Mm-hmm.
They teach you that you have to incorporate your shadow. There is no light without darkness. The people
Mm-hmm.
taunting or preaching the separation of the two, there is no separation of the two. It's going to be there. And when you try to deny or push down the shadow self, it comes out in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So that shadow needs to be loved on. It's like the child within you. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's good to communicate with your shadow self and also let your shadow self know from time to time that things are going to be okay and you turned out just fine. A lot of people, that is just that's a whole different study. But anyway, I stop right here because this chapter, these sections are describing a lot of people that I have run into, and I'm not exempt in dating. And so it is, I love the way he puts things together so that you can at least recognize it within yourself or in others. Because as an empath, you tend to attract people that need a lot of healing. And when you learn as an empath
Mm-hmm.
that your energy should be protected, then you want to be able to recognize this early on in people versus trying to heal everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your job. Your job is not to, you're not here to heal everybody you come in contact with. You have to be protective of that. And so we're going into did we go into the oral? Yep, we did.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, we're at the anal at the bottom of 126, the anal CP.
I didn't think we was way over there, but okay. Okay, so I'm gonna start back at the masochistic person.
Masochistic.
Masochistic. The
Mm-hmm.
masochistic person believes in persecution. They are the victim, and the opposite sex in general is incapable of treatment. Now, this is why I stopped it. And it
Oh,
was because when I hear podcasts, you can see these things play out in word via just random people podcasts. And
mm,
so it says she believes that the sexual submission is an acknowledgement by her of a male dominant role in society. She that be, you know what I'm saying? She popping her collar. And then he believes the expression of his emotions and cooperation with any aspect of her agenda is to acknowledge her dominance. Do you know how many people
hold on,
will
hold on, hold on. Read the last part of that sentence because it really goes with the first part.
acknowledge her dominance and his inferiority? And so I was gonna say, just in general, some people will disagree just because they don't want to seem like um they're being dominated or in turn that they're inferior when though I don't think either of those have nothing to do with each other. Dominance is dominant and that does
Mm-hmm.
not make you inferior in no kind of way. But some people do have that mindset. Now, did you want to say something about that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Go ahead.
It is a ghost rebellion. They are fighting back against a foe which no longer exists. It doesn't even exist. The anal CP body or pain body. Event causing misalignment, loss of emotion, resulting in pain, masking behaviors, avoids emotion, coping mechanism, seeks always to win as a compensation to shore up ego. Fear traits, fear of risk, fear of rejection, fear of failure. General theme, sympathy and emotions are a terminal illness. Wow. He or she believes that she can achieve love in a relationship without risking the exposure of her true feelings, his or her true feelings. You are becoming your cell phone, your car, your home. That is how you identify yourself. That is how others see you. You are your title at work, your uniform, the awards and trophies you have won,
Mhm. Mhm.
the property and assets you own. You are the restaurants you eat at, your website, your suit,
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
blog nickname, and your shoe collection. That is who you think you have become. And when this happens, you fail to be the highest and best version of yourself. While you are striving to become better via the material path, you are in fact becoming less. You are not improving your sexual experience, but making it lack more. It does not end where you thought it should end because you have become less. How to determine someone's CP? We're gonna go the main issue. For the schizoid, it will be the split persona. For the anal, it will be materialistic, and for the oral, it will be entitlement and abandonment. Compelled to the schizoid is compelled to criticize. The anal is compelled to win, and the oral is compelled to consume. The emotional addiction, the schizoid wants to be protected, the anal wants to be aroused, and the oral to be in love. Sabotages by the schizoid sabotages by isolating themselves, the anal overwork, and the oral seek outside excitement. The main issue for the masochistic, main issue passive aggressive, and the psychopathic main issue is control. The masochistic is compelled to interfere, and the psychopathic controls others. Emotional addiction for the masochistic is to be needed, for the psychopathic to be right. This is crazy. Sabotages relationships by the masochistic seeks comfort. The psychopathic, harsh judgment, religion, and money. It is not easy to determine your own counterfeit persona. You cannot see yourself without a mirror. The more deeply you are invested in false beliefs, the harder it will be for you to see the forest for the trees. Gather a few folks who know you and discuss the charts here. Your CP will then soon your CP will then become crystal clear. You only have one CP. Although there may be divisions and sub personas, the 5 levels of the CP. There are 5 versions of the CP. And for each version, there are 5 levels of intensity or 5 grades, which is how we measure and categorize the CP. Thus, we can determine the degree to which the CP will block or hinder HLO. Our goal is to always keep our CP level below that point. This is the chronic level of intensity. Not only are there different versions of counterfeit personality, but there are also various grades or levels of each particular version. The 5 gradients of the CP are mild, acute, chronic, severe, and necromancy. Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. I forgot to continue to scroll, so hold on. Y'all can screenshot it. This is the masochistic. This is the anal. And then this is what we just read, which is how to determine someone's CP. And that is the end of that slide.
Yeah, that's the last one for this chapter.
Okay, so not only are there different versions of the counterfeit personality, but there are also various grades or levels to each particular version. The 5 gradients of the CP are mild, acute, chronic, severe, and necromancy. Once the chronic level is reached, the person is no longer capable of HLO, and it becomes difficult to improve sexual relationships and the orgasmic profile. In other words, the more severe the gradient of the CP, the harder it is to achieve real life success, and the more severe the CP grows, the less the person desires to change and correct it. If the counterfeit persona or the man or woman has reached their chronic level or higher, they become insolvent. In other words, they do not mix with the opposite sex. A full and natural relationship with such a person is impossible. A relationship is possible, but it will be artificial, strained, and filled with drama and turmoil. It must be noted that at this time, must be noted at this time, in the decades after World War II, the culture in the West has been in a decline. Has been in decline. What we mean is that the masses are becoming more removed from their original persona. The counterfeit personalities are becoming more severe with each generation. The level of your pain body is severe. Then you will most likely be restricted to a juvenile level orgasm. A juvenile level of orgasm. If the level of your pain body is chronic, you will probably be limited to only an adult level of orgasm. If the level of your pain body is acute or mild, HLO is most likely within your reach. We can measure the pain body and make changes to it. The counterfeit persona, or CP, is basically a categorized and codified system to measure sexual and relationship dysfunction. Role in relationships. In our modern techno-fast food machine culture, most people engage in relationships through a surrogate, namely their counterfeit persona. You likely saw the movies The Matrix or Avatar. The counterfeit persona is like that. Thus, when you date them, you are dating their counterfeit persona, not really them. It is a facade. And when they date you, they're getting your counterfeit persona. You won't give them the real thing. You have two sides. In the mild and acute stage, the original you is engaged in a relationship while the counterfeit persona is standing on the sidelines trying to interfere. In the chronic and severe stages, the counterfeit persona has taken over and the original you is now standing on the side. It is the counterfeit persona that is running the relationship. It will always lead to disappointment, divorce, drama, or disaster. The 4Ds, nothing furthers or improves. The book Amanir by Master Yao devotes 3 full chapters to this discussion. And in the appendix, more references are cited. And that's next on my list, that book. Okay. So
Mhm.
for me, this is deep because it's just like, and this is the end of chapter 10 on the marketing video. Um, it's deep because you can see this play out in society, whether it be on your personal level. We're in the age of Aquarius, so you can see it playing out in technology all across different platforms. And people are using technology. Oh, it's another bug. People are using technology and are operating from their pain body, and people are joining in. So it ultimately becomes a trauma bond, and then they're leading with this belief that is grounded when it's really coming from pain. That is so sad. Um,
Okay, you okay?
I'm gonna shed a tear in a minute. It's gonna come from this eye.
Okay. Get your tissue ready then.
Got it. Got it. Got it. You
You don't
want
want to
me?
drop it in the, you don't want to drop it in the tea.
I'm just saying that it's so sad. And it's just like that's why I don't listen to random people. I have my favorite couples, and then I have my family and friends. They do content of that matter. I
Mhm.
also just contact my friends personally, like if I really want to know something. But just listening to random people and to note that it's all coming from whatever experiences they had, whether it's
Mhm.
the male or female. It's not going to be a one size fits all type of situation ever. And that's why when people be like, okay, when we was doing the podcast, Travelers Trust, what's the name of it? Travelers Trust.
Travelers Trust Circle.
I keep forgetting to see. Okay, Travelers Trust Circle. So when we were doing a podcast, I used to love to say, this is from my personal experience because I don't like speaking generally. We can't. speak on big topics of heavy weight and speak generally, because then that means you're consuming content that's going to shape your point of view. And if you've never experienced it, you can't really say what you'll do in that situation. You just can't. I used to always be telling, I can't wait to have a child. I'm gonna be the had full judgment of my friends with children, right? And
Mm.
then I became a mother.
Oh.
And so all of that, what you say when you're not experiencing it, you sometimes have to come back and eat all that up. And
Mhm.
I love correction. So it's the same in relationships. And then when you add the pain body thing, that was without the pain body. It's like you never fully know all of the pain that a person has experienced it. You're never gonna fully know a person. And so it might be something so deep and dark to them that they never want to share it. They never bring it up again. We compartmentalize. And so that back there, and we talking about the shadow self, imagine that thing being pushed down and then you having to show up in a partnership and you holding that whole time. It's a lot. It's gonna wreak havoc
Mhm.
eventually. And so what do you think about chapter 10, honey? Or sir?
What do I think? Oh, well, um, important component as we again try to work on the building blocks that we need to um, set as our foundation for purposely and willfully achieving a high level orgasm, which if anybody's been with us for more than a couple of weeks, you now know that it's not automatic. There's not a 5 minute technique that we're sharing with you on how to get there or how to get your partner there. But there are some real technical components that are required. And there's some, and before you even touch another person, there's a lot of work that has to be done on yourself. And I think that's what this particular chapter is espousing more than anything else. It's a lot of great information. I'm hoping people will, if you did listen along as we read, but because you don't have your own book, but re-listen to it and look at the charts and do some self-analysis, as it were, because it takes some work to get beyond any of the faults that you have with respect to the pain body. That can be extremely inhibiting,
Mm-hmm.
and as Master Morris inferred, very little of it is anything that has anything to do with genealogy. You are not who you are because that's how your people are, and that's how your family is, and your mama, your granddaddy. Not all of that. It is very little of it that even develops before you two, and then it's 2 to 18, as Master Morris um, suggested, that the formulative foundation of any of those pain bodies are going to be created. They're going to be a combination of what you observed with respect to relationships of your parents and those other what's the word I'm looking for, influential entities around you from 2 to 18, those
Mm-hmm.
sphere of influence. And also, more and more importantly, when we talk about the sexual issues, sexual dysfunction, the persona issues and counterfeit persona, the negative juju, epigenetics, curses, subliminal elements, and etc., they are all external forces. They are usually derived because of your external influence. You're not born this way or born that way. There's a lot of influence that's going on. And as he suggested and read, and well, hell, there's a whole lot of files that have been released. You could do the research on your own of some of the stuff that we read through today. Um, there are governments that did some of this stuff on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
The fluoride, you know, in our toothpaste, and the mass marketing of that for the purposes not so much of getting our teeth to healthier,
Mm-hmm.
because it does just the opposite in the long run. But those agents mixed with other chemicals that they started to allow to be put and used on foods and stuff created opportunity or an avenue or a neural pathway for mind control in a lot of areas. Mix that in with the basics that you get in most of your school systems and that particular regiment, and you build up a lot. You pollute the pathway, the flow of what's natural, um, with quite a bit of intensity. I
Yeah.
want to point to this paragraph, and I'm going to reread the whole paragraph on page 20, right in the middle, because it says, in general, the common masses believe they are making decisions, determining policy, and forming beliefs based on their own mind. They think the process is at all internally driven. The truth is that with most people, it is their pain body that makes decisions, shapes policy, and approves belief. As long as your pain body is running your life, it will be difficult to reach your common outcomes. And that really goes for not just um, achieving high level orgasms, but whatever you intend for relationships, whether they're friendships or intimate romantic relationships and the like. If you are fully steeply indoctrinated with and holding on to your pain body and haven't alchemized it, then it will always be distorted. The outcome that you think you envision will not be able to become. And the only way that I think you're going to be able to be the blame of it is because you haven't taken the information and that's available to you and found a way to work through it. As Ms. Pitts said, we're calling them pain bodies. That they're shadows of sorts, and they're not necessarily to be thrown away, discarded, or destroyed, but they are meant to be alchemized. They are, as Master Mars said, they are some of the fuel um, that will help clear up the network as you go toward high level orgasm. And I think that was the first time you wanted to pass the collection plate, wasn't it?
Yes. Because
Yeah.
this is true. This is true. This is true. And when the part when he said by religion influencing society to where people are chasing the Most High or God or whatever you call them externally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Skip the whole part of the ancient script. We don't know how
Mm-hmm.
far back, but the oldest says, "Ye are gods." This whole thing of chasing and heaven after, and you just gonna go your
Mm-hmm.
whole life waiting for your heaven when you
Mm-hmm.
know, wild, wild. And then also just chasing the Most High outwardly. It's always been internal. And so I don't know when this belief came on, but I follow subscribe to Brother Ike, a Reverend Ike, and he has always taught that it's inward. And he does the what do they call it? The science of religion and belief and manifestation. This was
Mm-hmm.
a reverend early on, probably prior to the 80s. And then of course, when people are teaching like that, always under scrutiny. He stayed under scrutiny and we lost him really early. But if you go back and listen to some of the stuff he teaches or subscribes to religious wise, then today it is more effective than organized religion and feeling like you chasing something, you going outside of yourself. Even it said in the script that the body is the temple, the body is the church. It tells you in so many ways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're leaving our homes, going to these buildings, and it's cool if you like to socialize, in religion. That's one thing, but to think that you have to go somewhere to experience that, that's where I feel like society has been led
Mm-hmm.
astray. But go ahead.
And driving that point home, I know not everybody's familiar with everything, uh, and I mean my whole resume is not out there, but those of you that know from previous things, you already know that my early years um, were the earliest religious teachings that I experienced were in the Nation of Islam and the Islamic faith
Mm-hmm.
before before going to Judaism. Uh, my dad turned me over to my grandmother, and she was a practicing Jew, and so I got all of that, uh, and read the Torah, from Quran to Torah, and uh, then my mama got a hold of me and put me in Catholic school early on, and so I started to become indoctrinated with Catholic faith and principles and such like that long before all the summers with my grandmother in the Southern Baptist Church.
Mm-hmm.
So I share all that to say that one thing I want to reinforce from my own personal knowledge is there is a running theme if you look at any of those major religions and the scriptures therein, whether you're reading the Quran in its purest form, the Torah in its most pure form,
Mm-hmm.
and the Bible in as pure a form as you can possibly get. Um, it will reinforce what Master Morris has shared with us about it being an internal, it requiring an internal exercise and search, as you were,
Mm-hmm.
for God within, not necessarily without. Now, mind you, again, we talk about the things that governments, religions, and such has done, and he suggested it here and reinforced it during the Inquisition. uh, um, the Catholic Church was they were about creating fear, and that developed a whole different set of circumstances and created these external forces that pain bodies for a lot of people that have gone on for years and years. And I'm not going to say it's not even there now, because it actually is. Some of the same methodologies of teaching are still there. And I'm not going to just belabor and beat up on religion. That's not my intent here, but to educate. And there's far more growth that can be obtained from questioning
Mm-hmm.
than there can be from simple complying.
Right.
Yours really is to reason why and not just do or die.
Yeah.
Um, and again, we're talking. This is foundational stuff. We're
Mm-hmm.
still talking about high level orgasms, but and I don't want to. We've got this one chapter to really drive home the fact that we have got to do some work on recognizing, identifying, and recognizing what pain bodies are inhibiting us. And you've got the charts there to look at the various things, and then to find a way to alchemize them and use them for fuel as
Mm-hmm.
you journey toward high level orgasms. Okay, when we read HLO, that's high level orgasm. Whenever they said CP, it's counterfeit persona, which
Right.
is one of the major pain bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got questions about anything that we've said, hey, we're still going to be live for almost another hour. But you can always drop the questions, whether it's via YouTube or StreamYard, wherever you find us on Facebook. We'll be sharing the links, not only from the past readings, but also this one will go on today as well. And if there ever a time you've got any questions and you want to take benefit of any research that we've done already, as opposed to doing it on your own, I'm gonna tell you, I'm going to answer enough of your question to point you in the right way, in the right direction, for you can get the answers yourself. Just give us a ring, Miss Pitts.
Yeah, I just want to go back to what you were saying about the religion, and so I like visual examples. We can see with Catholic Church, they sent in the missionaries, and so on the shores of California, still today, they're still missionaries. And with that, that's when the fear came in. People think that religion, Catholicism, all this stuff came in peaceably. It did not. There's always has been religious wars, and there has always been violence in religion. They were
Mm-hmm.
coming here um, with violence if you did not convert, and so
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't accept our God and da da da. It was with force and violence.
Mm-hmm.
So to have this now be just the norm, and
Mm-hmm.
to forget all of the traditional ways and traditional religions and traditional spirituality, we have fallen far from the path. And
Mm-hmm.
not only to forget yours, but to be fearful to even read about some of the practices prior to colonization. Okay? Colonialism, that's what I was trying to say. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at I even in dating, if I meet someone that has the scarcity mindset, it's just a red flag, and it's because I did the studies on self. I know that in partnerships, Sagittarius is expansion, and so if you're just so content to where you are that you don't want to grow anymore, that clouds my whole aura and program. So that scarcity will have you thinking that there's not enough for everybody. And then you can hear it in podcast world as in there's not a lot of good men left. That's not true. There are a lot
Mm-hmm.
of men left. You'll hear people say it's not a lot of good women left. That's not
Mm-hmm.
that's not you have not dated every woman
Mm-hmm.
man on the planet to even make such a statement. And so that, and also he said the God is external, the relationships and are personal. And I love how he went into they're supposed to be tribal. That's why when I'm dating, you really date me and my friends because I'm gonna call them with every little thing and try to make sure I ain't tripping, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it is supposed to be tribal. Your friends and your family that you're close to can see things that you can't see. And you might not receive them. You might choose to go off in your own direction. Some people like danger and spontaneity.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're gonna keep going sometimes, but just in general, you wanna have people around you that you consider iron. Iron sharpens iron.
Mm-hmm.
There's to me it needs to be tribal because if not then it will play out in a bunch of chaos, and sometimes you can't learn a lesson by not experiencing but your friend experiencing. That's where I'm bendable on that, speaking from my experiences. If my friend that's close to me that I trust and love and has experienced that,
Mm-hmm.
I would rather not learn all the lessons myself. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
I love that he spoke on that, that dating was a I, it's now an I thing when it used to be a we thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Also, just the counterfeit persona in general. When I read book 1 and 2, that was when I made the acknowledgement and decision to not show up dating with the counterfeit persona. I want you to have it all right there out front so you can know what you're getting into. I don't have time. And then sometimes that, yes, it's
Mm-hmm.
good for me, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
like people come in with a counterfeit persona and now I'm able to recognize that as well. And
Mm-hmm.
so you just have to be able to see this stuff when it comes up and then take it for what it's worth. Because if you're
Mm-hmm.
showing up or the other party is showing up in counterfeit persona, you'll never get past those I say steps or we'll say rites of passage in relationship. You'll never get past those moments, and you never fully understand how a person is when they're angry,
Mm-hmm.
when things aren't going their way. If they never show you when they're trying to positive vibes only, to me it's a red flag. If you living in a world with positive vibes, no, everybody has a shadow. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that shadow is not necessarily positive. Sometimes that shadow just needs to be nurtured to be understood. And
Mm-hmm.
so I personally have taken a personal accountability and make sure that you know what you're getting into. Now, what I do is in dating, I'm going to listen first, and then I'm going to start putting my boundaries out there, and then I'll see how you're reacting. If you're a person that cannot respect others' boundaries, 9 times out of 10, we're going to get past that because the counterfeit
Mm-hmm.
personality is not there. She's not there. She is
Mm-hmm.
strong in her boundariness. It's like sometimes I have to figure out, dang, what a boundary have I established with this thing? Because some experiences are just fresh and new. You don't know how you feel about some stuff, but just overall,
Mhm.
I would recommend that we all work on showing up as your counterfeit persona. You'll never end up being happy because you're always in actor mode. And then for me, I'm beautiful without the counterfeit. When I randomly go out in the garden and play drums and get lost for 4 hours, that might not be okay. For
That's your flow, huh?
yeah, that's my flow. You can't be mad to my
Mhm.
what you got done today. And I don't always follow the script. You gotta let me flow. And I'm not on societal's norm nowhere in my blueprint. And so you just you have to let people see you in your rarest form, and I feel like that is your most authentic self. But what do
Mhm.
you think about the counterfeit persona and all of the different ones or the pain bodies?
So I had to go back because up until relationships are personal, because there was a line
Okay.
in there that I highlighted because it really was relative to, we've had this conversation, I think, offline for a couple of other reasons.
Right.
But Master Mars he kind of, not kind of, he reinforced some of the things that we shared, or at least I shared with you, and that is that um, there's external, there's an agenda for external influence, and I know when he wrote this book, he said something about the internet not being as successful in uh, corrupting people
Mm-hmm.
as they intended, and I don't disagree with him very often, but it's definitely corrupting people a little too much for me, and it's creating a lot of false narratives.
What
And
part?
it
I'm sorry.
is, as he said, the impact of the pain body on sex regression, and the pain body in turn generates a dissonance in the relationship between women and men. And here we are again, a lot of the external influences that are being shared on these various podcast platforms and TikToks and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's creating a dissonance, a division.
Mm-hmm.
It's a false narrative being created between men and women, about men and women, and such. And actually, one of the posts that I put up this week was really in response to, for some reason, I had a handful of uncomfortable uh, posts come across my feed, and
Yeah.
I felt the need to respond. And it was that, to paraphrase the general theme that was the catalyst to my post, it was this: that men these days are just way too sassy. Instead of wanting to be a provider, they want women to take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
That was the theme. And
Mm-hmm.
so it prompted me to write, "Hey, dear future wifey, I am not interested in you taking care of me, but I do require that you care for me." And yes, I absolutely meant that. Absolutely meant that. If I'm presently single, but whenever I engage with a woman, I don't care, and I don't look for you to take care of me per se, but in if you can at least get to a point where you care for me, whatever kind of taking care of, and it's not all financial, um, that will be the fruit that I need for our relationship to be as successful and to elevate as positively as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But there is this running theme that we've got this, someone's trying to keep this division, trying to keep this man against woman going, and black men
Mm-hmm.
against black women, and we hate them and they hate us, and we're no good, and we got to go to Taipei to get a wife, and
Right.
oh,
Right.
they gotta, if they want somebody to treat them right, they have to get a Caucasian man to really
Mm-hmm.
love them and respect them, because black men, it's just a false narrative. um
Mm,
there is absolutely no greater strength than the original man and the original woman being together
mm,
as they are meant to be, in
mm.
my opinion, and based on my observation. um, so anyway, that particular line jumped out at me that the internet really is sadly having a bit more influence and creating a whole new pain body that
Mhm.
has to be um, alchemized. We needed to be alchemized.
So, we learned in High Priestess class about the egregore, and we are in the age of Aquarius. So, the egregore, it is a mindset that is fueled by society, and even though it might not be true, it echoes and gains more followers. And we were using the example because in High Priestess class we use shows, we binge watch shows to point out the astrology in it. And
Mm-hmm.
so in the age of Aquarius, I forgot the name of the show, but I'm pretty sure y'all watch TV more than me, so you would know. But it was about a town that a guy was bringing a woman to meet his family, but once getting in this town, you had to commit to doing this thing, and that rooted everybody together. And so it was like her joining this family line was ultimately like a cult, and then you can never remove yourself from this egregore or it would kill you. And
Mm-hmm.
so you just even trying to change the mindset will ultimately kill you. And that's what we see today in society with the cognitive dissonance and a little bit of the Stockholm. I speak on this all the time on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
It's just having the inability to think that you can meet somebody that's a good person, male or female, and that person will be catered to your path, ready to receive you where you are, and you being ready and willing to receive them where they
Mm-hmm.
are. And
Mm-hmm.
so, in that topic, that's why I would tell anybody, if you send me a clip, a podcast, or somebody saying something, 9 times out of 10, I didn't see it. I just don't want the outside influence. 9 times out of 10, I'll say this and stand on this little hill. Nine
Mm-hmm.
times out of 10, these people are single. So what are we really talking about? Now, if you giving me Auntie Shirley and Uncle Earl, and they done been together 50 years, you can send me that clip.
Mm-hmm.
They most likely have figured it out because 50 years is a long time to be with somebody else. I don't even know, being with
It's a
yourself
long
for
time.
50 years is a long time. And so that's something almost like I say, I follow couples, but they are couples that keep it real. They're not just posting the highs and just form this false reality because everybody know who's been in a successful relationship. You have ups and downs. When you're
Mm-hmm.
single, you have ups and downs. Life is cyclical or cyclical. How you say it?
Cyclical.
Cyclical. And so
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna go through your seasons. You're gonna go through your
Mm-hmm.
ups and downs. And so the key would be your companion being a person that understands that as well, and that will receive you in your changes over time. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
change. The only thing that is concrete is change, right? And
Sure.
so
Mm-hmm.
that's why I say if all of that stuff, but just the general definitions of the pain bodies and what they would be doing. I mean, he's very on point, and I've seen it play out. Those that try to persecute you, and so they're gonna withdraw. They the victim, and then they gonna withdraw, and they
Mm-hmm.
feel like you just don't understand them. They can't hear nothing. It's just like, what is up? Are you okay? So, I never said that, and
Yeah.
so stuff like this, the people that avoid emotions, I can say at some points on my journey, this could have been me avoiding those emotions. Like, baby, I ain't got time to feel today, okay? And,
Mm-hmm.
and I just love how he puts in there the tendencies, and then he also put um the main issue, what they're going to compel to do, the emotional addiction, and how
Mm-hmm.
they sabotage. It's important to be able to recognize how you sabotage your relationships because there's no growth without going back in that history. I realized this year that at this point it's best for me to be single. If I don't
Mhm.
think now, and I came to this conclusion because when I started reflecting and looking back, it's like I've been in relationships my whole life, and not necessarily because I
Mhm.
love them. It's just that's been that, and so now taking a step back and making sure that I have a concrete relationship with self. That is
Mhm.
the goal. You cannot relate to others if you cannot relate to self. And so
Mhm.
that being an ultimate decision and being just okay with it. At first I wasn't at peace with it. It's like, this is what I'm used to.
Mhm.
So it's just like, no, you have to really build a foundation with yourself before you can even go into those areas. Because if not, then in your relationship to continue to play out, and you'll be in the middle of that thing and not even know what it is that you ultimately want. You just be in the middle of it, going by. So it was something
Mhm.
else we talked about this week that you said you want to take time to speak on today. You said we had time. Do you remember?
Was I? Did I? Mhm.
I can't remember, but I remember you saying it.
Oh, I do. I do remember. But if can I stay on the book because I got a couple of more
Yeah,
comments for the pages
yeah, yeah.
before of the actual chapter. You mind?
No, go ahead. We got time.
Okay. So on page 126, the very last lines of that paragraph before the last final chart, they were talking about the masochistic person
Mm-hmm.
and their belief in a persecution complex. But the
Mm-hmm.
last sentence is, "It is a ghost rebellion. They are fighting back against a foe which no longer exists."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was important to really highlight that that if you have not, it's not to say that your masochistic pain body is completely unreal,
Mm-hmm.
but the pain is from real, as well as it can be from real as well as perceived oppression,
Mm-hmm.
giving you a victim complex and making you passive aggressive and stuff, and creating fear, and
Mm-hmm.
usually fear of conforming, conflict, and conceding the power. But more often than not, these were fleeting experiences, and whether you want to call them traumatic experiences or not is up to you. I'll leave it to you. But they were experiences that you had that have just left a bit more scar tissue because you kept picking at it and picking at it and
Mm-hmm.
picking at it and
Mm-hmm.
picking at it. And you've turned it into this great big enemy that is not even real, or not even real anymore.
Say
Anymore. Not anymore. And so we do see this play out. And Master Morris mentioned it in previous chapters when he was talking about the tantric work, how the young lady was severely inhibited because of some experiences that she had had in her formative years
mm-hmm.
that still played out in her heart body, and made it difficult for her to actually experience HLO without some more intense training, i.e., getting past and alchemizing the pain bodies that developed from those experiences. Because she had some experiences with one, two, or three men, she
Mm-hmm.
thought every man was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there was and it was, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it relative to her breasts, Miss
Yeah,
Pitts?
yeah, so
Okay.
yeah.
Because there were two or three men that really, really liked her breasts as she was developing. Apparently, she was very voluptuous. But every man, whether he spoke to her, looked at her, gave her a compliment of any kind, she perceived in her mind that they just wanted her breasts.
Mm-mm.
Not real. Not real at all. Um, so as we move forward to getting past the fakeness, when you're alchemizing that masochistic pain body, um, we're going to need to make sure we do some in-depth study of ourselves And again, you've got the charts here. Look at some of these things, look at some of the traits and such, and recognize whether you have a shortcoming and what you may need to alchemize. And then you want to know what level you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Morris mentions on page 128, the second to the last page before the chapter ends, the importance of recognizing the 5 levels of your counterfeit persona. And the five gradients of CP are mild, acute, chronic, severe, and necromancy. And he even makes mention further on at the end of the chapter that if you have already gotten past chronic into severe or necromancy, with any particular one, you're going to have an extremely difficult, near impossible time of moving the needle in tantric work in any kind of way
Mm-hmm.
without alchemizing those in totality. And I hear people saying, I can almost hear it, Miss Pitts, the the idea of necromancy. Well, isn't that about dead people, worshiping dead people, witchcraft, and all that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it is it is death related, a study of death, and conjuring, communicating with spirits of the dead, usually to seek guidance of some type or another. Um, and if you've allowed your pain body to root so deeply that you are, as Ms. Pitts mentioned earlier, trauma bonded to other entities that are driving that force home and giving you this bad advice, this guidance that is only inhibiting you from living your life in its purest form that you should, you will have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You will have a problem. Need to get past that.
Okay. So I want to speak on both of those. You said necromancy, so remember that part. But what did you speak on before? Dang.
Before describing the necromancy, I was talking about the falsehood. They're fighting back against a foe that no longer exists.
Right.
There's a ghost rebellion.
So that it just visually puts me on a societal level as the claim that everybody was a slave. And so when you people ask, oh, well, what did Barack do for us? Barack released all of the books in the Library of Congress online, made them digitize them, and that information is there. And so when you start looking into them, you see that there were more slaves exported than imported. They keep records. You also see that it wasn't what they were describing because people were coming and going all the time on these ships. Now, what they don't have record of is the names of the ships they gave you that passed down through history. None of those are on actual records. And so none of those originate from the places that they say they came in yet. So with all that being said, generationally, you're teaching your children that they were inferior by even claiming that. And so on a mass level, you have those people out there that's still hardcore. We're gonna revolt, and they out there, they saving up guns. Nothing wrong with it, but just in general, it is still an enemy that no longer exists. You know what I'm saying? And so you're claiming and claiming, and you wait for your time to come out again. And it's just like, okay, but what if your family was just here and sharecropping or farming? And then the people that will say, oh, no, you're wrong. We were all here being safe. It's like, no, but my grandma said, and then they have this military mindset that your grandma, she knows what she was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, the records are there, the land plots are there, all the evidence is there, but that mindset will not allow you, and you're teaching it to your children. And then I ask the question all the time because I just be now observing. I used to go back and forth with people. I've grown. But I just observe the behavior is that of being dismissive to somebody's culture. And then it being because your mindset is, I used to be a slave, and you was there very, very, I'm not going to let this go or research it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like, okay, but that doesn't mean you get to put that on me and my generations. That's not what I'm teaching my son. We actually
Mm-hmm.
descended from farmers. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're not okay with that, but it just go hand in hand, it's still a pain body of a sort.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just based in fluff. You have no evidence. I tell people, do your genealogy. Um, we can be collectively oppressed because that's the claim, but when you do your genealogy, you want to know specifically what your family went through. And that goes back to the dating being tribal. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
um, all that. But when you, what was the next thing you just said?
So I just want to make sure that we're clear that it's not necessary that you are discounting the 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 gravity of the slave trade and
Right,
how it affected a lot of people here.
right,
But just because we have dark skin does not necessarily mean that we historically derived from that
absolutely,
particular lineage. That correct?
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. And I agree with you. There are, the records have indicated there are beyond the 12 million that they documented, 12 to 14 million, I think it is, that they documented coming over on slave ships. Those are the ones that were documented. There probably were more, but everybody fudged records, you
I was
know,
saying, I
uh,
say it was
just,
less. The
like everybody
record,
fudged records for various reasons.
yeah,
But
the
yes, and a lot of them came through here, docked here, and
record.
then went down to South America, the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bunch of back and forth, but um, I have in my genealogy, I've got Cherokee Indian on my grandmother, on my father's side, my grandmother, great grandmother, full blood Cherokee.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so if you've seen any full blooded Cherokees, I am that complexion. I am the complexion
Yeah.
of Cherokee Indians, but it is, I agree. And I absolutely want to reinforce the need to study individually.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just take on this false, don't just take on this rebellion against something that you cannot verify you
Please.
even have part and parcel connection to.
Mm-hmm.
You do want to alchemize everything that is a rooted pain body, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
but make sure it's really real.
Right.
Make sure it's real, and we've got the tools these days to do it.
And don't throw people
Research
away.
your genealogy, look at your history, and
Yes.
find out if you even have a dog in that fight.
Yes. And
And I
don't
think that's what you were saying before we went on to the 5 levels or the 5 gradients of the counterfeit personality on page 128.
right. And I want to go back to color. And don't look at the color because all races are birthed out of one original being,
Mm-hmm.
right? But just know that it was tribal because I have what we call Cowhee on my grandmother's side too, and my granddad was Shata. And so with that, there were different languages. Don't just put yourself in a group of 5 tribes. No, those were tribes that
Oh, way more tribes. Yeah.
you want to make sure, and then it's a lot of tribes that were small and not known, some that was big and not known, and you have to understand that you didn't necessarily have tribal names. Smith is one of the oldest names in the southeast area, and it is a huge tribe, and we traveled and migrated, and so
Mm-hmm.
you have to keep out. But I'm going forward to what you were saying at the end, which is within this collective, we have to heal. There's no way around it. You should not be throwing people away because they have different political views. This is happening on a
Mm-hmm.
mass level on
Mm-hmm.
a variety of topics and things. All of this stuff was introduced. It was all introduced. And when you really look deep into it, it has no standing or grounds. The history does not support it. You also have to realize that this is a corporation. You cannot take any of this stuff personal because they run a business here. You just got to learn how to take your little bit, your little monopoly piece, and move it on the board. And so when you heal yourself you're self-aware, you're aware of what's going on in the environment, then you move different. And you start to understand that people should not be just as disposable as social media has made it. Because a lot of people be looking, listen to the podcast, and they're just running through people, and people are becoming more disposable, and it's creating collectively a bigger lonely energy or scarcity energy. Just no good people out here. All that is a mindset. And so that collectively affects us all, yes. But on the first level is you working with yourself first. It should always start with you. And so yeah. So that's what you that was a topic that you wanted to talk about. I feel like
What?
it was something else.
They're getting your counterfeit persona. Oh, so we got this over 23 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Um, we both said it in we both said it a couple of times, a couple of ways about a couple of different subjects, but
Mm.
um, the book that we're reading is The Holy Grail of Orgasm, and we're talking about developing the building blocks for high level orgasms. And this particular chapter is all about what we need to get rid of in order to be successful in putting another one of those building blocks in place.
Mm.
And so we've mentioned a couple of times today about alchemizing. And so I just want to take a moment to actually read the definition of alchemy, because it's actually the name of the book club. It's Alchemical Changes. And it is the medieval forerunner of chemistry. Based on the supposed transformation of matter, it was concerned particularly with attempts to convert base metals into gold or to find universal elixir. It is a seemingly magical process of transformation, creation, or combination. Keyword: seemingly magical process. There are really very real methodologies that can be employed on a spiritual level, um, in order to transform, mutate, or alchemize the things that inhibit our lives from being the very best that they can possibly be.
Mm.
Most of it requires that we get rid of old programming,
Mm.
that we ward off some of the brainwashing that has been done for generations in some regards, um, and presently inhibit us and form some of the pain bodies that we mentioned even today. There are a lot of there are mainly external forces that intentionally distort um, our processing of things, our desires of ourselves, our perception of ourselves, so that there's this divide between them and us, and that they are continuously in power, whether we're talking politics, religion, or otherwise, and therefore inhibiting us from, again, being the best version of ourselves, which is the original version of ourselves,
Mm.
one that does not have to suffer illness or disease, um, one that has extremely long life, you know. And so, yeah, when we were talking about, we were reviewing things earlier in the week, Ms. Pitts and I were talking about just sharing with you the reason why she initially even called um, her book club Alchemical Changes. So, yes, her book club is her book club. I'm a guest reader
This is
for this
our
particular
book club.
session. Happy to do it. But when you named it Alchemical Changes, what was your vision for the book club, under that particular heading, Alchemical Changes?
For me, I've always been into alchemy and just not even knowing it was alchemy, but I understand or understood then within my higher self transmutation. And so just going through things, and when I started studying alchemy, it can be applied to anything. So I was into the heavy metals, seeing how you take one thing and then you put it through the fire and it becomes something else. Also being a fire sign, I tell people all the time, fire refines, it purifies, it burns. Usually if you have a patch of land and you set fire to it, the soil becomes more richer with the ashes, and then you can see that in your harvest of your fruits or your vegetables, whatever you're growing. But just
Mm-hmm.
always being heavy into the fire element, and so the book club, I was thinking about the, of course, the types of books, but just bringing change within the community by exploring books. People usually it'll never cross your path. Um, I don't do just Master Morris's books, but we've read the Kabbalion here. I used to read Kabbalion every summer. It was so good, and they scared you away from certain books. But in the Kabbalion, they tell you how media has an extreme influence over a lot of the things that happen in the world. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I had to read that chapter, and I remember being outside once in the garden and reading it, and it just like clicked. It's just like, so whatever it is, they'll put it out there, and then they'll just repeat it and repeat it until consciously or subconsciously is there. And so, with that, for me, it was bringing about changes within me. And so all the people that I was studying with, people I was around, mostly women, we were all taking classes and just changing. And these books, these three that have been read here, that dang on masculine and feminine brought about a great amount of change within my close friend group. Again, mostly women at the time when we were reading, but I still always had a couple of homeboys that was listening too. And even my homeboy, shout out to you, brother Uno. Brother Uno always supports if he knows you're doing something, or try to step in. But him even just trying to understand his wife better when we were reading the feminine. And then also with the masculine, just identifying things within yourself and participating, actually being a person that wants to change, not just stay the same. Change is constant. Any water that's sitting in a puddle, it becomes stagnant and infested with bacteria and all this. So the brag of no new friends, I've been the same. I've been the same since high school. It's just not a something that you want to just focus on. I used to be one of those things, loyalty. No, if you never meet new people and your friends are the same since high school, how does that play out in your own evolution? Again, iron sharpens iron. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I hope I
Yeah,
answered your question. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. I believe you did. Yeah,
okay.
and to that point about, I just want to drive that home about evolution, because you've kind of said something about stagnant versus growing,
Mm-hmm.
alternating, changing a couple of times. And the visual that I like to share with people that don't quite understand the need for changing, the heart monitor that gets put on to people when they're in the hospital and they're trying to see where you are from a life standpoint. If you notice that as long as you are alive, that heart monitor, which is the registrar of life in your body, is going to go up and come back down. It's going to go up and come back down. And if at any time it goes flat and stays constant and has no change, that is an indication that you, my friend, are dead.
Listen, not just you, the
Mm-hmm.
relationship, the job,
Yeah.
the car. Okay.
Everything is about, in every aspect, there's up and down. Even energy in and of itself. If you subscribe to us even having an energy body or being energy body or being bodies of energy, you gotta know that our energy level is not always the same. It attracts and it repels. It grows and it recedes. There are ebbs and there are tides at all times. And that is the constant. That is the one constant that you can be sure of. Oh, I feel like I'm singing a song.
Right.
Everything must change. Um, it is, yeah, it's the one thing that you can be sure of, that everything must change and there will be ebbs and tides in life. There's no expectation from anybody reasonable that you're walking a path with that you will be constantly the same. Every aspect of life, every day that you live brings about something different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I've kind of wanted to drive that point home as you explained, what the importance of alchemizing and why you named your book club Alchemical Changes.
I don't want left.
We are 10 chapters in
10 chapters
of, I
in.
believe, 14.
Yeah.
Let
It's
me get
coming
back.
to
Let
an
me
end,
get
my
back.
friend.
14 chapters. So we've got next week, it's going to be the petrified sexual gnosis, followed by the cell body, followed by the spiraling protocol for high level orgasm. And we will probably combine that with 14, the cocoon program. And that will give you all the building blocks you need in order to purposely, willfully, and intentionally work toward achieving high level orgasms on purpose, frequently, with
When,
enthusiasm and
yes,
great skill.
yes. Not with enthusiasm and great skill. Okay. Well, with all of those things and more, I'm telling you, this book ended up being more about, and this is with all his books, more about everything versus just one thing. And so
Mhm.
going in it, I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be juicy." But it's just like it's just as healing as the first book of his that I read, and I just am thankful that someone wrote this book that's relatable and that has really put in the work and did studies,
Mhm.
um, and actually participated in the study. But we'll have a lot of gurus, and they will be guruing, but never participated, or
No participating.
this thing has never happened to them. That's the
Mhm.
state we're in the world. But it was good. It's coming to an end. I'm excited still. I think
Mhm.
uh, the next two chapters are very long, and then we have two short chapters. So are you
Mhm.
gonna cry when this book is over?
Didn't you just read Men Don't Cry?
Listen, you
We
supposed to be
don't
making
feel we don't feel emotion. I'm a man.
you
That
should
is who I am.
no.
I'm intrigued. I've been resisting to read ahead.
Uh,
Um, because
where's
I am the type of
the
reader. This book could have been done in a day. Um, for me, I read like that, but I've been kind of holding back. But I look at the chapters as we come up on them, and I'm
Mhm.
looking at this title, "Petrified Sexual Gnosis," and I'm like, can't wait to see what he's revealing in this. I mean, um, and this is Gnosis, Gnosis.
Right,
So for any of you that for those that may not know Gnosis, because it's not a word we use every day
right.
anywhere. Gnosis means knowledge. So petrified sexual knowledge. What will be revealed next week?
Oh, I see a lot of good. Like what?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Petrified. Petrified means hardened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sexual, and then knowledge. Hardened sexual knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Maybe some stuff that's been put on the shelf or
Hmm.
not passed down, passed
Hmm.
down orally. I know
Hmm.
there's a section in here on premium semen distillation. It's like what?
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
So
Inquiring minds want to know.
right, it's gonna be juicy.
No pun intended, right? Hmm.
No pun intended. So um women's stair step therapy. I wonder. Oh wow! So he's giving you steps that you could take to not be petrified for the rest of your existence.
Frozen with fear. That you're still, you're hardened, you can't move.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it is definitely simply because you perceive or fear
Mm-hmm.
something that has not manifest yet and may not even be real
May not even be real. That's the part right there. May not even be real, or it's no longer real.
or no longer real. Yeah.
So you're not able to move forward. So you're just stuck. Yeah, this is gonna be good. I'm excited about it. And then just period. Finally completing this book.
Mhm.
I've been holding it. It has grew gray hairs, waiting to be read. So if you all have any questions, let me check the comments on the YouTube. So somebody commented, okay, okay. Well,
You got somebody
um,
over there?
no, not. It's something here. Hi, Mr. Frankie Gregg. Thank you for the compliment on my smile. I don't wanna.
Mhm.
I don't want to skip any comments, but I don't know if that was from a post. Yeah, that was from a post in the community section. But if you all have any questions, don't feel free to comment, and we'll come back on here the next time we're here and check out your comments. If you have any questions, like Mr. Butts said, feel free to reach out. Did anyone win the book or that was
Nobody won the book. No, nobody reached out to me. Nobody reached out to me for that last week.
okay? The book was not the winner last week.
Hey, I am. If I can just get this little shameless plug real quick, I will be starting back my Isness series, both on the Jamal M. Butts as well as the JB Rhythm um, Facebook. I don't know what you call them. What do you call profiles? There you go.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
My spoken word profile is Jay capital B period and then rhythm RHYTHM. All that's capital. JB Rhythm. Um, but I'm starting back my isness uh, euphemisms or vernaculars, whatever you want to call it. There'll be little sayings, but they'll kick back in on Monday. If anybody wants to come over and check it out, I appreciate it. Um, yeah, like, share, subscribe. Not just that, but also this podcast, Alchemical Changes, where we've been reading the Holy Grail of Orgasm for what is it? Has it been 7 weeks now, Miss Pitts? It's 7 weeks, I think.
Think so. I'm looking up your JB Rhythm
Mm-hmm.
so I can share it. But yeah, I think it's 7 or 8 weeks.
Yeah. So, yep, I'm gonna be reviving that profile where pretty much most of my spoken word or written and or spoken word is supposed to go, and you'll be able to see some of those things. And what's interesting is that Miss Pitts mentioned things about boundaries a couple of times today. And what do you know? The first post that I have ready to go for next week are referencing boundaries.
Really?
They are. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The referencing boundaries. So
So you schedule your post?
I haven't learned how to schedule them just yet. I just have them written, and I'm going to be putting them up tomorrow. But if you are welcome to walk me through that offline,
Okay.
because I could certainly do it for the rest of the year and be done. That'd be wonderful.
Wow, not the rest of the year. It's such a show off. It's like,
I had that conversation all the time with people that are poets,
mm-hmm,
that say they're writers.
mm-hmm,
And to me, if you writing, they say, yo, so when the last time you wrote a piece? Uh uh yeah, I got something started. I'm not finished with it yet. Oh, really? But when's the last time you wrote a piece?
mm-hmm.
1990 so and so. Okay. We have a different definition of writer.
Right.
It's not, because to me, if you there's a difference between being a writer and writing. If you
Mm-hmm,
write, okay, then yeah, you're writing something every so often. I get that.
mm-hmm.
No disrespect. But if you tell me you are a writer, that means I have this expectation that you are writing probably every day, if not every other day.
Right.
If you are a writer. And so yes, it's not a brag. It's not meant to be a brag, but I probably write something every day, or I finish something that I started writing every day.
That's good. That's
So I
good.
do have a really big body of work. Plus, I'm an old man with a lot of thoughts, and
Gotta get.
sometimes I can't bear children, but I am occasionally pregnant with my thoughts and views and want to share those particular things. So I birthed them on this platform, JB Rhythm, and also Jamal and Butts. And check it out. Check it out.
So I did link Mr. Butts Facebook in the description box where you can go and I guess follow on Facebook, subscribe, like all the things. You can still find him on all platforms. Jamal M. Butts, right?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so don't forget to go over there and search, support. Again, we'll be back next week. The next chapter is called Petrified Sexual Gnosis. And we look forward to it. I don't see anybody in here at the moment. You all who catch this video later, let us know in the comment section too, if you're enjoying the book. It doesn't have to be a question or not. If you're learning anything,
Just shoot a thumbs up, a heart,
yeah.
whatever. A single word.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Okay.
Don't forget.
Um, Feel free to share each of our profiles as well. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We are doing book club. And after this book is done and said, we'll take a little break because I like to process the information. Might be information that I want to go back over again before I put the book up. And then we'll find something else to read. Different topic, different cycle. And so thank you for everybody who keeps showing up with us. And I can see the views going up. So I know you all are watching. We appreciate the support. And don't forget to engage. Feel free to DM Mr. Butts. My DMs are kind of closed.
As well, they should be. No.
I'm like, my DMs are closed.
And what do you mean kind of closed? Either they're closed or they're not.
They've been closed for about a year. The DMs.
Okay. Well, her DMs are closed.
Yeah. I only DM my friends on Facebook. But again, if you have any questions or anything, put it in the comment section or Mr. Butts will answer them in his DMs.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all, we're going to go and get up out of here. We appreciate it. We love y'all. See y'all next week. And peace.
Namaste, everyone.